My eldest daughter recently had an ancestry test done. The results of the ancestry test strongly suggested that I was not her father. The two of us decided to get an official paternity test. It came back, and I am indeed not her biological father. Welcome to Based on a True Story. My name is Rafael Omar, and today we've got a story for you about a guy who found out that his wife was doing some things that she shouldn't have been doing. He confronted her, and it didn't go as planned. Now, as we read through this story, I want you to pay close attention to the details of the story, because at the end of the story, he's got some questions that he's going to ask and that he's going to need some counseling on from the readers. He's got some questions about how to handle this situation. We're going to go through the story and let me know what you think. But that's enough for the intro. Let's go ahead and jump into it. First of all, I'm sorry if this ends up being long and rambly. I'm not really in the best state of mind. My world has been turned upside down. A bit of backstory. I met my wife when we were in high school, and we were married in college. We have 5 beautiful children together. The oldest is 33, and the youngest is 14. I consider them a total blessing regardless of what I'm about to bring up. And up until a couple of weeks ago, I thought that we had the perfect marriage. We were typical high school sweethearts. We'd go out together. We never fought. And I feel like I've done everything a loving husband should do. I'm saying this not to make myself out as the perfect husband. For example, my work has always meant that I work long hours, and maybe haven't always been there when she needed me. But I want to stress that I've never felt our marriage was in any trouble. Interesting. And never in a million years would I ever have suspected my wife of being disloyal. She's always done everything she could to support me and take care of our children. Now, my eldest daughter recently had an ancestry test done. The results of the ancestry test strongly suggested that I was not her father. She confided this to me privately, showing me the results, and I could tell she was visibly upset by this. Of course, the first thing I did was reassure her that no matter what, she's my daughter, and I'll always love her unconditionally. But secondly, the two of us decided to get an official paternity test, since the ancestry tests are not completely reliable. It came back, and I am indeed not her biological father. This news really broke me. I'm ashamed to say that I broke down in tears in front of my daughter. Ain't no shame in it, ain't no shame. The combination of finding out about my wife's infidelity and how upset I was making my daughter by how I was reacting was overwhelming. I really wish I had just kept it in for her sake, but I didn't. Following this, I asked my other children, except my youngest, to come and see me. I wanted to know the extent of my wife's infidelity. If it was a one-off, I could maybe work past it, especially given how long ago it would have been. However, I didn't want to tell my youngest, as she is still in school, a teenager, and I really didn't think it was appropriate to tell her yet. We told the other 3 what had happened, and I reassured them that I love them unconditionally and that I'll always be their dad, but that I needed to know how long this had been going on. God, I can't begin to explain how touching their reaction was. They didn't care if I wasn't their biological father. They were just upset at how heartbroken I was. I feel like the only thing that has kept me going these last couple of weeks is their unwavering support. I was sitting in my home office one afternoon, shuffling through the mail, when I saw that the paternity results had finally come in. The TV was blaring in the background to help me drown out my anxiety-ridden thoughts about the state of my marriage and the possible heartbreaking news that was waiting for me in this envelope. I let out a hard sigh. then opened the envelope and began to read. Not only are none of them my biological children, but together, 4 of my children have 3 different fathers. This means she wasn't just having an ongoing affair, she was having multiple. I was shaking. My heart was beating so fast it felt like it was about to explode out of my chest. I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't believe that my wife, who I had been so faithful to all these years, had had multiple affairs behind my back, gotten pregnant, and kept it a secret from me all this time. I decided I was going to confront her. With my papers in hand, I got up from my desk and walked downstairs to where my wife was watching TV, fully expecting her to confess and beg for forgiveness. I walked into the living room, picked up the remote, and turned off the TV. She turned and looked at me, very confused. I said, "We need to talk," and proceeded to hand her the papers. She took them, looked at the papers, then asked, "What's this?" "They're the paternity test results from our first 4 kids. None of them are mine," I responded. She continued to look at the papers, then handed them back to me, looked straight in my eyes and said, "Well, the test must be flawed." My jaw hit the floor as I stood there, speechless. "All 4? I yelled. She yelled back, "What do you want me to say? The tests are wrong. Jeez." She doesn't confess. She doesn't even take it seriously. I keep bringing it up, and she keeps brushing it off, getting progressively more annoyed at me and trying to guilt trip me. She says, "We've been together since high school. Do you seriously not trust me?" But how am I supposed to trust her in the face of such overwhelming evidence? Now that I've rambled and explained what has happened, I guess let me ask a few direct questions for advice. 1, how can I reassure my children this doesn't change anything between us? I feel like the way I've reacted, total breakdowns, has made them second guess this, despite however many times I've tried to reassure them. 2, how do I handle my youngest daughter? I feel like our marriage is beyond saving, and I will need to tell my daughter something. I don't want her to know the truth until she's older, but I also don't want my wife lying and making me out to be the villain. And number 3, is there any way at all, you think I could or should save my marriage? I've been with my wife my entire life. It's almost impossible to see a life without her. I know the answer should be a clear-cut leave her, but we have 5 kids together. No, you don't. If there's anything that can be done to save our marriage, I want to consider it seriously. Okay. Well, first off, let me just say, wow. I am sorry that you have to go through that. That's tough. 5 kids and 4 of them are not yours. That's tough for anybody to deal with. So I'm sorry for that. To answer number 3 first, you said that I know that the answer should be a clear-cut leave her, but we have 5 kids together. You don't have 5 kids together. That's what this whole post was about. You don't have 5 kids together. As far as you know, you might have 1 kid together, but you don't have 5. And I don't know, this doesn't say how long y'all been together. I guess you said you've been together since high school, and your oldest is 33. So you've been together over at least 3 decades. And in that 3 decades, your wife has been just getting her back blown out behind your back. You know, here's the thing. You only know about 4 times. You know, 4 times. And in those 4 times, there's 3 different dudes. But that doesn't mean that she's only done it 4 times. Your wife has been getting her back blown out for years. And you didn't even know. You just getting up, going to work, coming home, thinking everything is great. And she been taking it. And she just been letting them just spray all up inside of her. That's crazy. That's real crazy. The answer is clear. You need to get out of there. Also, you said that your youngest is in high school. You need to go ahead and tell your youngest. It's like you know what to do, because you even said in the post, I don't want the wife to paint me as the villain. So you know your wife's temperament. You need to go ahead and tell your youngest. Let her know, listen, this is what's going on with mommy and daddy. And let's go ahead and get why would you not do the paternity test? Why would you not do? I don't understand. It's almost like you don't want to know the truth, right? You want to hold on to some shred of evidence that maybe at least one of them is yours, even though the older 4 are not. The answer is clear. You know what you need to do. Get that paternity test for the youngest. Pack up, leave, divorce. I mean, who's to say she's even stopped? She could still be doing it, even after you found out that the other kids aren't yours. You got to get out of that, man. You got to get out of that. There's no other way of painting this as a happy ending. No pun intended. Your wife would know about that one. You're always going to have doubt. Every time you look at her, every time you get up and go to work, you're going to have doubt. What's she doing? Is she at home? Every time she goes to the grocery store, you're going to be having doubts. You got to get out of that, man. I'm going to pray for you, because you definitely need it. Let's take a look at the comments. Text Fiend says, I wouldn't worry about trying to save the marriage. If she's still lying to you in the face of overwhelming evidence, then there's nothing left to save. Talk to a lawyer about how to start the divorce process and follow their advice to the letter. Smart move. Go talk to a lawyer. I didn't think about that. Well, I did say get a divorce, and that requires talking to a lawyer. I don't know if this guy's in the US or if he's in another country, but I don't think it matters. I'm pretty sure you have to talk to a lawyer no matter where you are if you want a divorce. Sit your youngest down and have an age-appropriate conversation with her. Tell her that you and your mother will be getting a divorce, that it turns out that the other kids aren't your biological kids, that you still love them and are still their father, but you won't be able to stay married to their mother. It's great advice, Text Fiend. Let's move on. We got another human being says, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. Even if you don't tell your youngest the truth, she will hear it from someone else soon, maybe a sibling, or maybe your wife will tell her some untrue version. Regarding her well-being, consider therapy for your youngest, but it might be useful for everyone as well. Now that's smart. You probably need to go ahead and hop into therapy right now if you haven't done so already. By the way, this post is like 12 years old, so this guy is, hopefully he's already left. There's no update to this at all. So hopefully he's already left and all the kids know the truth. But I'm wondering what happened with the youngest. He doesn't say what happened with the youngest. So I'm a hope that the youngest was his. That's my headcanon. He got the test done. The youngest is his. Him and the youngest lived happily ever after. And last but not least, we got Military Morale. Says, I couldn't imagine going through this hell. The trust of this type of relationship being broken could destroy any man in his outlook on everything. Yeah, that's real. I don't know a man who wouldn't be destroyed by this. I certainly. Listen, I got one, okay? And if I found out what he found out, I'd need some answers. One. But he got 5, and potentially all 5 are not his. That's tough. I don't know any man who could go through that. So hopefully this has been helpful. Probably not, because this post was posted 12 years ago. And yeah, I am years late to the punch. But I trust that you have made the right choice and that you are no longer with this woman. And she's probably out there right now, bent over. Somebody just raw, pregnant again. That's probably what's happening. But you can sleep tight knowing that you did the right thing. You don't have any bad karma coming your way. All right? Thanks again for watching the video. Before we go though, did you know that we make films as well? We take true stories we find online and turn them into cinematic short films. So if you're interested in seeing some of the movies that we've made here on the channel, check out some of these videos, man. I think you might like some of them. And remember, if you've got a true story that happened to you that you want to see get turned into a film, maybe you want to see it here on the channel, just send me an email below. The email is in the description. Send me a detailed email. I want to see all of the things that happened in detail to you. And you just might see it here on the channel. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.